was part of the prize was the trip to Nashville and an appearance on the Grand Ole Opry. Thank you.
Is that where you met Hank Williams? You met Hank Williams, and did you say Patsy Cline? Some of those.
You jump right, well, one thing of my career, right into something. You got me retiring now.
Thank you and good night, folks. Did you enjoy it? No. Well, I knew you went to Nashville. I thought that was the time you saw Hank Williams Sr.
No,
It wasn't that time.
Oh, wait till I get this lozenge you right.
Okay.
Grandpa Jones would say, this thing is as slick as an artist's nest. You seem to know more about this than I do.
I was sitting at the award show with Grandpa Jones in the CMA Awards, and Sawyer Brown was up on stage, jumping around like they did, and Grandpa's going, because he's from the old school. And I said, are you unhappy? And he said, I like Roy Acuff's version better.
Well, I agree with that.
You agree with that?
So when did you meet Hank Williams?
Yeah, we're all concerned.
This goes back to when I was still playing square dance music, and we went to Baltimore, Maryland, at the Hippodrome Theater, where they had a week of a country show that Hank Williams was the star, and had several other big-known country artists. And then we opened the show with our little square dance band. And every day between, they did 2 shows a day, I would go out and listen to Hank, sit in the same seat for 2 weeks, watching this man that so mesmerizing that I sat up there as a kid, and things were happening in my mind and in my heart that it showed me so much of whatever it was I want to be involved in it. So that was my meeting with Hank Williams. Now it gets down to his fiddle player, Jerry Rivers, and I would go up to the second level in his theater, and he'd have his fiddle and I'd have my guitar, and I would play background for him, and then it would be you know, we enjoyed each other's playing. One day we were up doing that, and I looked, and I felt a presence next to me. This is one of those spiral staircases, and I looked over, and it was Hank Williams, and I about froze. I didn't know what to do. Sitting that close, are you kidding? And he looked and finished that tune, and him and Jerry said a few things together, and then Jerry started something else, and then he stopped, and Hank got up and walked out of the room and said, if you guys don't care whether I'm here or not, I think I'll just leave. And I thought, oh, no, Mr. Williams, please don't leave. But what can a 12, 13-year-old? That's all I could do. And when he left, Jerry said, don't be too upset, because if we had made a do over him being here, he wouldn't play anyway. But I figured that was so close to me. If I could explain just what he created, he didn't do any jumping around like Elvis, but what he did came from within, and you just sit there and was mesmerized of just what was coming out from inside this man. And years later, I became friends with Hank Williams Jr. In fact, it was about, 4 months ago, he came by the office there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he said, and he came by just to visit. First time I'd seen him in about 10 years. But it's, country music is such a family-orientated get-together. It's like a reunion every time you get together because you share stories and you admire what some people are doing and what you can do to help that image. So it's a good life.
That sounds like a good segue into a song.
Richard was going to sing for us. Thank you. You were very nice, by the way. I appreciate you. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors in the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, is also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. This is Richard Kennedy. Crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I apologize for my throat. I guess it must have been something that I ate. That was very fine, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy.
And
You're welcome.
He said you're welcome before you ever got it
Yeah, a
out.
bass player never gets any recognition. The only time they ever notice me is when I quit playing. They go, what happened? And the only time they ever hear a bass player is in a car a block away. They hear, otherwise we mean nothing.
see there.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. I got it off my chest.
Well, we talked about you meeting Hank Williams, but Hank Williams was not the only star that you were around. You hung out with all the greats. Elvis Presley.
Little Jimmy Dickens. My hero. But I did being and working as long as I've been at it, which is in excess of 50, 55 years, you get a chance. Thank you. You do get a chance to meet a lot of great people that has great stories to share about their lives and what they went through And a lot of times you benefit from just hanging out and meeting great people, which we have already done this evening.
Elvis actually introduced you from the stage one time, which is a very rare thing.
Well, I met him first of all when he had just got back from being in the service and just trading. I had played backup when I was with Jimmy Dean before he went into service. So he stopped by Washington, D.C. in a private train coach. And I'm trying to think of, that he came in, they pulled his car into Washington. He'd flown into New York, a train down to Washington, and was waiting to get hooked up to a train that would take him to Memphis. So I had actually met him there. But then, years later, he really loved hee-haw.